Imagine not being able to read the paper because your hands were shaking. Imagine not being able to read newsprint as your world faded to black. The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. Monthly Report. With your host, Lee Martin, and co-host, Florence Myers-McSwine.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. We want to welcome you to the National Federation of the Blind, the Newsline Monthly Report. Florence, how are you doing this new year?
I'm doing well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm doing fine. And our guest, Miss Amber, how are you?
I'm well today.
Well, thank you for coming onto the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And we look forward to conversing with you about the National Federation of the Blind and the service with the Indianapolis Recorder.
Awesome.
You know, a great service throughout the state of Indiana. And so we want to let in individuals that are just tuning in to our program, we want to thank you for welcoming us back into your homes. And if you stick with us, you'll find that today's show is going to be very unique and very informative. So if you know of someone that is blind, visually impaired, or coping with dyslexia, or even the shaky hand syndrome, or just print challenge, you may want to grab a pen, a recorder, slate and stylus, anything that you use to write down information, because we have a service that would interest you and be beneficial to your life and your independence. So, Florence, talk a little bit about the NFB Newsline.
Okay, I can certainly do that. NFB Newsline is a free service for the blind, visually impaired print challenge community, which gives access to over 400 newspapers, over 60 magazines. I particularly, myself, love talking about the magazines, so we'll talk a little bit more about that on our next segment, I guess.
Yes, so stay tuned, because there's a lot of devices that you can use and to access our free service. And it's one that you can use independently. You just doesn't have to sit there and listen to each and every ambience or anything other than just the newspapers and magazines, TV guide listings, job listings, weather reports, and all just a plethora of information that helps you in your daily lives. So we'll be right back here on WHMB 40 here in Indianapolis, Indiana. So stay tuned.
With my failing eyesight, I'm not able to read regular newspapers, and I'm not able to keep up with obituaries.
I've been a homemaker all of my life, but since my vision has failed, I wish I could read my favorite magazines.
Have you heard of the NFB Newsline?
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today. Welcome back to the National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana Monthly Report. This is a great service, and so many of our subscribers have commented to us about the independence that this service brings to their daily lives, the independence that they never had before without this technology. It just would make it impossible to be independent with our service. And we'll talk a little bit about our service and the devices that it takes to use this particular service. We're sponsored by the National Federation of the Blind. It's our service of the National Federation of the Blind, which is out of Baltimore, Maryland. The National Federation of the Blind is the largest organization of organized blind in the country. We have over 50,000 members, over 500 chapters throughout the country, blind, visually impaired, and sighted members throughout the community of the National Federation of the Blind. We are an advocacy group, and we do a lot of legislative work. We have a group going to Washington at the end of this month to talk to Congress about a lot of resolutions that we have going on to make life better for the blind and visually impaired community. So, Florence, you want to talk a little bit about some of the devices that we use for the National Federation of the Blind Newsline?
Surely. There are several ways that we access NFB Newsline. One is through the use of a landline phone, where most seniors prefer using a landline phone, and that is the most common use of NFB Newsline. Then there's also your mobile line. Your mobile phone, you can access NFB Newsline. There's also a device we call a Victor Reader. Now, the Victor Reader will also give us access to Newsline as well as your computer. Also, I don't want to leave out there's a audio digital recorder device that we use from the Talking Book and Braille Library that also gives us access to NFB Newsline.
There's a great device to use as well, because it is through the National Library of Congress that particular device is provided. And for those that would like to know more about that particular device, because it's a multi-tool as well, you can contact the Talking Book and Braille Library, and you can find that information out by going to our website. That number, the website is being announced during our commercials, and also there's a number that's also announced for our local NFB, National Federation of the Blind, here in Indiana as well. So utilize those as you listen to the program and watch our commercials that are provided. There's a lot of information to contact us there. Now, we have a very special guest with us today. And Florence, you want to introduce our guest?
Yes, I certainly will. I'd like to welcome you, Ms. Amber Sapenter, to our show today. And you are from?
I'm from the Indianapolis Recorder. Thank you guys for having us here to really advocate for the National Federation of the Blind and Newsline in particular. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Now, your publication, your newspaper, the Indianapolis Recorder, from my understanding, it started in 1895?
Yes. Over 200 years ago, we were able to come in, and we started as a publication, just a church bulletin, 2-page bulletin, and then that's excelled really rapidly within that time to a full-page newspaper. And we've been around, like you said, since 1895, and we really just do our best to keep a conscious community. That's our goal in everything that we do. So that transcribes and goes and makes it fluid through not only those who are sighted, so not just sighted readers and sighted subscribers, but also through either blind or visually impaired or text challenged readers, like you said, dyslexia or shaky hand syndrome or anything else of that nature. So that's one of the reasons why we, not challenge, but we allow ourselves and make ourselves responsible to our community, and that includes all those who can and cannot visually read.
Okay, so the Indianapolis Recorder then, did it start off originally as a African-American newspaper?
It started off originally as a church bulletin.
Okay.
So it was just, if you can imagine the importance that faith has in the African American community. So the church was just posting jobs and posting things that were going on and keeping up with the community. And there was that demand, even 200 years ago, where it's like we have to be more responsible to the people that we talk to and the people that we serve, and the community we serve. So that community at that time particularly was for the African American community. So yes, it has always been a newspaper for the African American, not for the African American community, but reporting on the African American issues.
I understand.
Specifically, issues that aren't always focused on through other news sites, and that was very important to us.
Well, I know the innovators back in that time and the innovators of today, certainly, you know, the freedom of the press. I believe at that time too was, you know, under scrutiny oftentimes, particularly to the African American community. And, you know, hats off to those individuals during that period of time to get the information out into the community. And as it progressed over the years, you know, I can't help but pay tribute to Mr. William Bill Mays. He really brought it into a whole new frontier. And, you know, the late William Bill Mays, you know, we just want to say, you know, give you a tribute here today, here on the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Monthly Report.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it took a lot to continue, and it'll take a lot to keep the freedom of the press moving forward. So as we know, the press is under a lot of scrutiny nowadays, and the method in which it is delivered to the consumers and subscribers of, you know, and we want to just thank the Indianapolis Recorder for reaching out, as we reached out to you guys, about the need to be inclusive of the blind community and those that qualify for the service. Because before that, we had no access. And access is vital.
It is.
Yeah, and if I could say two things. One, I want to, you know, just also pay tribute to William Mays, simply because I'm glad that he saw the importance in our newspaper, keeping it alive, investing in it, and in the community itself. And with that being said, it's our job, it's our responsibility to continue and invest in the community, as, like I said earlier, the blind community as well. You said something that was very key, and you said that independence, people need that independence. Everyone needs their own independence. And being able to be a well-informed citizen is very important, and I'm very glad that we're able to do this, and I encourage anybody else to also subscribe and make their paper available.
Okay, with that, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back, because it is very important to remember that informed citizens make informed decisions. And in the blind and visually impaired communities and people with print challenges, we make decisions, and we'll talk more about that when we come back. So stay tuned. We'll see you shortly.
Thousands of Indiana residents feel isolated from the world due to vision problems. Thanks to the National Federation of the Blind, visually impaired Hoosiers can hear newspapers, circulars, and magazines from across the globe.
I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm blind. I read Stars and Stripes on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline.
Nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
As I travel the nation, I read NFB Newsline.
I live in Valparaiso, Indiana, and I listen to my local news on NFB Newsline.
As a student, I enjoy reading current events on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today. Welcome back to the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana Monthly Report. And we're having a great conversation here with Ms. Amber and co-host Florence Myers-McSwine regarding the Indianapolis Recorder and its existence and how the National Federation of the Blind came about to be a free publication for the blind and print challenged citizens in the state of Indiana and throughout the country, because as we talked about earlier, you can just pick up your landline phone, or you can also pick up your Victor Reader Stream, your digital talking players, and also we have an app on the Apple phone, and you can use a lot of Apple devices as well as the Android to access this free service. And just hats off to the Talking Book and Braille Library for being one of our sponsors, along with a lot of other partners that we have throughout the state of Indiana. We also, like the Will Center down in Terre Haute with Danny Wayne Beamer, working with the older blind program, Bosma Enterprises throughout the state of Indiana, the Governor's Council for People with Disabilities, the League for the Blind, just a number of opportunities or entities throughout the state of Indiana that work with this particular service. So, look us up on our website, give us a call. All it takes is a good phone call. We can issue new subscribers information. You'll receive an access number to use the service free, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It has benefited me. I know it's benefited you, Florence.
It definitely has, and it does all the time.
And the Indianapolis Recorder, once again, it is the first publication of its kind, African-American descent, to be on NFB Newsline. And we just want to thank you guys for extending that free service to our users throughout the community. Because I've been able to learn more about my community, what's going on in the community with legislation, what's going on in the news that you guys provide that we normally wouldn't get from a lot of publications.
And that's so true. And a lot of people also use the Indianapolis Recorder as a source of researching ancestry. A lot of people don't know that, but a lot of people use the recorder just for that purpose as well.
If you go through the Indiana Historical Society or also IUPUI's library, they have some of the longest dated archives of our newspapers. So whenever you're talking about looking back through current events or trying to figure out what your great-grandfather did or grandfather did to affect the community in Indianapolis, or really just to see how things were on this date 15, 30, 40, 80 years ago, you're welcome to do that, and it's exciting to do so as well. So there are lots of things, like you said, people look up their ancestry, people get in contact with the community, and really we try to be the best pipeline that we can be to the community, and really making sure that the news for us and the news for the news that isn't being reported everywhere and sometimes is being oversighted is also being reported on and never being overlooked. So that's our responsibility.
Okay, and Amber, so what is your what section of your newspaper is the most commonly read?
For it to be we have our A section, our B section, and our Around Town. I can describe them for you. The A section is current events, news, and things that you're going to want to know about. Our B section is business and education and religion. So those things that you're going to look into. I know that we talked about, over our break, we talked about how pertinent the church still is in our community. So we do have an entire section dedicated to religion. We have an order of service. So if those are people are coming in looking for a new church home or trying to figure out what's going on, they are welcome to look there and see that we have a number of churches to select from, choose from, visit, and participate in. And also, even on this channel, where you guys had your gospel fest and everything else, we were able to participate in that. And then our Around Town section goes into explaining the things that are going on in the city, what's new, what's fun, where can you go, what can you do. So those are the things that you get to look forward to and try out and see, and a lot of free events and paid events, but really things that is going to keep you in contact and keep you on the loop of Indianapolis as a whole. So.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, because I really enjoy reading about what's going on with our Black Legislative Caucus, what's going on with our City County Council and its members and what they're doing. A lot of things that are going on in our community when we have the Black Expo and the Circle City Classic, those things that are pertinent information to, a certain segment of our community. You guys provide that.
And also, if I can interject, also the things that we'd like to focus on as well is, outside of those really big name events, are the things that are coming up, the things that are also important. Like in February, we're having our celebration of Black History with ISO, Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra. It's a free event. We encourage people to come out and really enjoy and that culture experience that you can have. So it's one of the things that we get excited for people to be a part of.
Well, I've enjoyed the ISO myself,
Yeah.
and I tell you, if you haven't been to an event like that, you need to go. ISO is, as some of the people would say, the bomb.
Yeah.
You really enjoy yourself.
February 6th.
February the 6th.
Yes, come out. It's a Tuesday.
And that's another-
Pre-Valentine Day.
Yes. Definitely.
So, Florence?
Well, I was just going to tell you, that's one of the things that I love about being able to read the Indianapolis Recorder, having access to it, because those are things I like to know. I like to know what's going on in our community. So that is a plus. And I can't thank you enough for coming on board with the National Federation of the Blind Newsline. Awesome. We need your information. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And if I can say, I want to thank you guys as well for participating in the events that we have, particularly our Community Health and Wellness Fair that you guys were able to participate in and really advocate for the blind. So we thank you for that. And so just as much as we're a part of your organization, you guys are a part of our organization, and that's truly what we mean whenever we talk about building and creating a conscious community. And we want to continue that going forward with other organizations, other businesses, other individuals and entities of influence, so that we can continue to shine a light on diversity and shine a light on the importance of the Indianapolis Recorder and Indianapolis in our community as a whole, and betterment of the community.
Well, thank you so very much, and we'll just let that kind of wrap us up. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
And once again, with love, hope, and determination, we can transform dreams into reality. So join us next week as we continue to educate our public and bridge gaps of visible differences. Take good care. Be blessed.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I use NFB Newsline when reading Hammond Northwest Times.
Using NFB Newsline, I read the Christian Science magazine.
Dad, you read Jerusalem Post, too.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Live the life you want. Read NFB.
It's free.
The National Federation of the Blind knows that blindness is not the characteristic that defines you or your future. Every day we raise the expectations of blind people because low expectations create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back.
Yes, now it has been a wonderful show. Today we had Miss Amber Sapenter from the Indianapolis Recorder, and she has been great and has given us some great information. And wouldn't you agree, Lee?
I would certainly agree. And with this, January, it's very important. With the Martin Luther King's celebration just concluding, that we do recognize the African American community and publications. Can you just imagine the amount of news that has been reported in the Indianapolis Recorder since the 1895, when it started out as a bulletin in a church.
Wow.
Just to, wrap your head around it. And it sounds like it would be very vital to go and visit the archives that she was speaking about and learn more, particularly for students.
Right, and about our heritage. And, and the thing about the Indianapolis Recorder, too, Lee, is that for people that are blind, visually impaired, who wouldn't have access to the printed press, I believe that, it's really, it's awesome that they have joined with us for the National Federation of the Blind Newsline. That way we can read what's going on in our community as well.
Yeah, we would encourage individuals that watch this program to encourage others to about this particular service. Sometimes it seems a little frivolous to those that have the gift of sight to read. When we're talking about reading publications, and then there's been programs around where individuals had access, but with the Indianapolis Recorder and the Indianapolis Newsline, we have the opportunity to independently read what you want to read, when you want to read it, 24 hours a day.
7 days a week.
So encourage individuals to come to our website and fill out the application or just give us a call, and we will be getting back with each individual so that they can use the service. We have students, adults, seniors, and youth. So we'll want you to join us again next week here on the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana Monthly Report. Thank you very much.
The National Federation of the Blind Indiana Monthly Report. For more information, go to nfb-in.org or call 317-205-9226. That's 317-205-9226. The National Federation of the Blind encourages you to live the life you want.